I started this practice almost 4 5 years back, and it's called nature in Buddhism. There's a chant that we do. It's called Namhya Foods. This brand is just a byproduct of that. So I think from Namhya, we sort of created the brand called Namhya. When I felt that there was a very major gap of not understanding the nutritional value of food. So I think that was sort of missing in most people or most patients that I saw. I sort of understood what all these herbs or the importance of all these herbs can be if repackaged well, if formulated well. Follow the traditional ecosystem that your Dadi and Nani would have taught you or would have followed. I think that is actually the real way of living.
A very warm welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining the Take One Digital Network Live.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And thank you for sparing your valuable time in talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, ma'am, now talking about your journey, first of all, I want to know what is the meaning of Namhya and how did you come up with this name?
So it's a long story. It's not basically a meaning that came out of the brand that we do. It's basically from a practice that I used to do almost 4 5 years back, right? So I started this practice almost 4 5 years back, and it's called nature in Buddhism. And for me, I think a lot of things opened up in terms of how I think, how I am, because of that. And I think this idea came to me of starting an Ayurvedic brand like this. When I was practicing it. So there's a chant that we do. It's called Namhya Foods. And this brand is just a byproduct of that. So I think from Namhya, we sort of created the brand called Namhya. A lot of people also mistake the brand to be my name. But yeah, guys, it's not my name.
So, of course, it's a very beautiful name, and your journey has been such a I think it's going to be very inspiring for so many people. So I would like to know how you started this journey and how has it been so far?
Honestly, I come from a family business background, and we knew at some point of time that we will eventually do business. But I was doing a very well paid job. I was enjoying my work at a job that I was doing. So never thought of, sort of starting something like this. Also, Ayurveda, traditional medicine, right? After you do a BTech and an MBA, you don't expect yourself to be doing the work that your grandfather was doing, right? So most people will think कि ये तो इसके लिए दिमाग नहीं चाहिए, or it's not something people who do very well in their education and life in general end up doing, right? There's a lot of myth attached to it. There's a lot of stuff around it, right? But I think for me it happened very very organically, I would say. I was a very fat kid while growing up. I reversed my own PCOS. I lost about 30 kgs, right? And I think that was the time when I got very sensitive to food and health foods and what should we eat, what should we not eat, to the extent that I actually got very obsessed with it, right? I obsessed over it to the extent that I ended up doing a few courses over it, right? I also ended up doing a few courses in Ayurveda, but never thought of, taking this full time. And then, back in 2018, because my father was suffering from a problem called liver cirrhosis, I had to, it was a by chance kind of a thing. I had to be in the hospital for a very long time. And I would just observe people, because in hospital, you end up just being there and seeing what is happening around you. And I felt that there was a very major gap of not understanding the nutritional value of food. So I think that was sort of missing in most people or most patients that I saw. And then just out of my own curiosity, I would end up meeting a lot of nutritionists. And nutritionists also, sorry to say, but had a very shallow experience or understanding of what actual nutrition should be. Right. And, I ended up researching a little bit about Ayurveda that time. Accidentally got into my own work, my dad's work, because he was unwell. So I had to sort of take care of a little bit of work that he was doing. And I found out that, we were sitting on gold. There were so many things that we were doing that absolutely nobody knew about. And I felt ki, like we're sitting on gold mine and nobody is really doing anything about it. And, I had a corporate experience of 5 years and I sort of understood what all these herbs or the importance of all these herbs can be if repackaged well, if formulated well. So I said, I was already in a startup stint. I was not connected to the purpose of what they were trying to do as a startup. They were in a tech field, and it was into home smart automation, all of that stuff. And I was anyway not happy with it. And suddenly I had just, got this new objective in my life that, we really need to communicate about all these herbs. And I think when you go through a hospital stint yourself, there's a lot of emotional attachment. There's a lot of emotions that you go through. And I think, I don't know, I think that sort of just, made me leave my job, just start from zero. Initially, first 6 months were actually very uncomfortable, honestly. I mean, leaving a job which is paying you well, suddenly, dropping all your lifestyle that you have in a metropolitan city, and then just coming back to a place like Jammu where you've not visited very frequently in a long time. I think all of those things, and then the pandemic, a lot of uncomfortable things, but I think it's also a lot about, what life has to show you. So I think that happened, and a few right things in place, right? A few publications wrote about us. The moment we came into something like this, boom, and the pandemic happened, immunity conversations started happening. Your story covered us, right? So even if I was a little uncertain, they were all something would happen that would make me have some hope in what we were doing. And I think that April, May 2020, and then we never looked back. I think that's what probably happened for us.
Right. So you were talking about pandemic. So every business had an effect due to pandemic. So were there any problems that your business faced during that time?
Honestly, I think we'd like to call us as pandemic babies. We've sort of gotten born in a time where pandemic was already there, and it's like, when you start in a certain circumstance that's already existing, you just don't know anything but to work in it, to survive in it. And I don't know how a normal business happens because we're still working from home, so I don't know. I'm not aware, because what we saw was the pandemic and, working in the pandemic. So as I said, we were pandemic babies, so we just didn't know anything else.
So you also mentioned that you did a lot of research about Ayurveda. So what, according to you, is why is Ayurveda important in our lives today? It was important before also, but why is it more relevant or more important in today's lifestyle?
I think the most important reason why we need to sort of go back to, what we already knew is our lifestyles have changed a lot, not going to anybody else, but if I look at my own lifestyle, I'm just sitting on my chair, on my bed, or just working out of my home for good 8-10 hours. And I'm sort of like on my bed and not doing anything, there's no physical movement. And then probably I'm going for a HIIT class for 45 minutes and I'm back home, right? But that's not the real way of leading your life. One has to be in constant movement to sort of consume and absorb all those carbs that we have in the 3 meals, right? And then look at the food cycle today. It's full of pandemic. It's full of pesticide, insecticides. Everything is artificially grown, right? So there's already a lot of mess up that has happened. And if you look at your lifestyle, probably. I know journalists sort of sleep at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the night. Some days the schedules are very, very long. So we are beating the natural cycle of life of the universe, which is Surya pe so jao, Surya uday pe jaag jao. So we are beating all those notions, And if there's something that can really keep you up with the already messed up situation that there is, I think it is Ayurveda. And, today nobody's talking about the side effects of allopathy, but we've seen people who go to hospitals and how they come back. They come back, even further deteriorated, even further weak, right? Because allopathy, or in medical ecosystem that we have today, it's just about balancing the symptoms that you're experiencing, right? Nothing is curing from the root of the issue. जैसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं कि जड़ से कोई चीज नहीं ठीक हो रही है. It is just about managing the symptoms, right? The whole ecosystem of medicine is working on that. And managing those symptoms can sometimes really give you side effects that grow with you over a period of time. And liver cirrhosis, by the way, is just a byproduct of all the medication or all the wrong medication that you can have, right? For some people, even diabetes is a manifestation of all the bad thing that you do with the allopathy, right? So many steroids, stuff like that, and then you end up having diabetes, right? Some people have to also go to insulin. So I think for those reasons, I feel that it's far more important now.
I think that's a very important message for people who are having some chronic diseases or who are not able to balance their weight. I think Ayurveda is the solution because there's no side effect after all. So, ma'am, now talking about your journey in Shark Tank India. So, how was the experience in Shark Tank India?
Oh, I think like I've answered this question so many times now. Honestly, when I went to Shark Tank, so I was called by, I was told to sort of apply for Shark Tank by one of these members of Sony TV. And, like that time there were like 2-3 shows that were coming parallelly, and we were sort of approached by 2-3 people at the same time. And nobody knew in India that it is going to go that big, right? And for those reasons, everybody sort of took it a little more non-seriously. And so did I. I knew that I've watched all episodes of Shark Tank US, right? I've watched Shark Tank while growing up. But I never thought it would run well in India. Also because I thought India is a place where Big Boss will work well on a Indian television, right? In fact, I remember when we went for the shoot to Bombay, most of the people on the sets, right, from the production house were saying ki ye nahi chalega, like India mein ye sab kaun dekhega. Like nobody's interested to know what is your customer acquisition cost or what is customer lifetime value or what is the CTR of the campaign that you're running, right? But it was all a surprise, right? But so I honestly went very non-seriously. I said, let's go out and meet new people and see, people who are making, who have companies worth 10,000 crore, 20,000 crore. What can I learn from them? So I came with that kind of mindset. And then seeing so many entrepreneurs, so many people on the platform, and the kind of struggle everybody does, the kind of hard work everybody does. I think I was super inspired by all of those things. So I think I was there more from a experience of learning something new, being in people who were creating something new. So I think the energy of the place was really nice. Had very good time, had fun time. I never went there for any funding. I just went there to sort of understand what people are doing and also sort of get some validation of whether we could scale up at the level that we wanted to. And that was it. I think I had a very good experience. It's only when the whole telecast happened and we sort of came in public eyes and we realized that okay, this sort of went very huge. But I think all the credit goes to the production house. I think they really did a very good job there.
Definitely, they did a wonderful job, and so did you, because you have come up with the solution for so many people. Like somebody, our viewer, is writing that your tea is one of the best. So I think that's the biggest accomplishment for any entrepreneur.
Honestly, I think there's a lot of marketing work that still needs to be done. But the best part about what we do is that we got the right product. And now our customers are the people who stand by the product. I usually get about 10 to 12 good messages from the customers saying "Aapka product acha hai." And I think honestly that is what keeps us going every day. Otherwise there are things that happen on an everyday basis in a startup, right, which can discourage you. But I think there are a few things. I think at least the product is right. I think there are a few things that we've done correct, I feel. And I think getting the right kind of product was one of them.
That's correct. So, there's so many products related to Ayurveda and Ayurvedic products in the market. There's a huge competition. So, what is that one thing that your product stands out from the rest of the products that are there?
I think honestly, we usually don't like to compare ourselves with Himalayas and Unanis of the world. Not because we are something very different or anything like that. I just genuinely feel that, we are in a market which is more lifestyle based. which is more appealing to the millennials, right? I think what Himalayas and Unanis are doing is absolutely great. But I think Indian generation or Indian millennial has sort of gone to a place where people don't want to do that boring goli and churan. I think people are wanting more variety, because if it wasn't the case, then Ayurveda or Ayurvedic formulations would have gone to a different level altogether. So when we were researching about this segment, we also understood that health and wellness industry in our country is about 70,000 crore, right? And Ayurveda in it is just about 10,000 crore. It's 1/7 of the total segment that it forms. And most of the rest of the segment actually goes to outer beauty, outer wellness. Not the inner wellness. So the surprising part was that inner wellness, what you eat, forms the fundamental of what will make you beautiful at the end of the day, right? And if it is not happening in the right way, then there's absolutely some gap in the communication. And then that's why we sort of tried and capture that segment, which was more about giving you a lifestyle product. You use it in your everyday life, and it's not boring, it's not goli churan, it's nice to have, it's tasty also, it has fresh petals. Can you replace your regular chai with this and have the benefits that you should potentially have with the product? So I think we sort of came in a very different segment altogether. With all due respect, I think everybody should grow, including Unanis, Vaidyanaths, and all of the guys who are in the industry, Ayurvedic industry. But I think it's a slightly different take that we took.
So even I can vouch for the product, because I've been using the period care tea from the past 3 weeks, and I think it's working good for me.
Please give us reviews. I think we are really in earnest need of it.
Absolutely, because I think it will be a huge help because I think 80% of girls and women are suffering from PCOD and PCOS.
Oh yeah, and I don't have either of the two, PCOS and PCOD, but I also use the same tea because I feel that my periods and my flow and my cycle has really gone well. And I used to get these sugar cravings after my lunch. Those have also sort of gone down. So I think different people will always get different kind of effects or results. But having said that, it's for everybody. I think every woman who's in their reproductive cycle should try it.
So initially you started with 2 to 3 products, and now you have a huge range of products ranging from different ailments that are there. So are you planning to additionalize the different variants of it?
I think the fundamental core of the brand was that we wanted to capture the major issues that we have in the country, right? So if you and I have to end up in a hospital because of these 5 or 7 ailments, we will first try to capture this segment and sort of help you not end up in a hospital, right? So I think anything and everything that we are trying to do right now is only with the objective that we should stop you from going to a hospital. And whatever gets included in it, we will do that. So currently we're working on this product for kidneys and gastric issues, right? So there's no variety that we want to get out in the same segment. I think the intention and the idea is कि अगर आपको ये बीमारी है या ये problem है या ये symptoms हो रहे हैं किसी problem के, तो हम आपको मदद कर सके वो ठीक होने में, right? So I think we will look at the scale of it, the spread of those products, than going deeper in the product right now.
That's correct. So ma'am, before ending the live session, what is that one message that you want to give to people who are watching us and who will watch later?
I don't know. I think it's very wide. I think first the most important thing, because that I've seen as somebody who's practiced Ayurveda a little bit, I have seen a lot of changes in my body just because I choose not to eat after sunset. Some days, it does get extended, but I usually manage, 80% of the days, right? So I don't eat anything after sunset, and my metabolism has gone up. I used to have issues of constipation that have gone down. There are a few lifestyle changes that I have done in my body, and my skin has gone brighter. I look happier. right? So there are things that have happened, and honestly, I usually, my first message would be that work and function according to the universe, right? Which is to say that Surya Uday pe utho, Suryast pe so jao. And of course, we can't technically do that, but as much as we can do that, I think we'll be better off. Second is that you eat ghar ka khana, you eat natural. You should definitely buy from Namhya Foods. It's called www.namhyafoods.com. I think we really need your support and help there. If you've already purchased your product, please give us reviews, because we don't believe in paid reviews. But we really want reviews from people. I think that's second. And third, I think there are, of course, a lot of products in the market, and underdoing and overdoing anything does not lead to anything. So I think your body tells what it needs. So listen more to your body. And again, the more you adapt with the nature, the better you will feel in your body. And that being said, I think follow the traditional ecosystem that your dadi and nani would have taught you or would have followed. I think that is actually the real way of living.
Definitely. With the simple lifestyle changes, we can have both mental and physical benefits in a long run. That's true. Thank you so much, ma'am, for talking to us about your journey, about your baby, like you said, pandemic baby, Namhya. And thank you so much for your valuable time. I hope you have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you.